Hey there, I'm Dave Pomeroy. Happy to be here and just want to talk a little bit about this thing we call the number system. I've been living in Nashville for quite a long time now, and not long after I got here, I found myself on stage sitting in with a band, and the singer started flashing hand signals behind his back as he was singing, and I had absolutely no idea what was going on. And I asked the guy next to me, I said, "What's that?" And he says, "It's a number system, man. Don't you know it?" And I'm like, "No." So I made a point of going out and learning what it's about. And it's basically a shorthand way of charting out a song that's different from traditional notation or a chord chart. It has a lot in common with a chord chart, but it kind of goes back to the traditional way of thinking about music theory, where in a certain key you have a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord, which are the primary chords in that key. And we've all referred to blues tunes, as, oh, it's a 1-4-5, or oh, it's, this and that. But what's happened in Nashville over the years, and it started with a couple of musicians, Charlie McCoy and Wayne Moss, who had seen what the Jordanaires, a backup vocal group, were doing to organize their vocal harmonies on the spot in the studio, because it's all about working quickly. And they realized that they could write chord charts using this number system much quicker and easier than you can write a traditional chart. And because so much of today's music, not just in Nashville but all over the world, is based on the idea that you're going to create your own bass part, very, very few situations that I run into and most musicians run into, it's pretty rare that someone's writing your part out for you. So this is just another way of looking at chord progressions. It's just a much easier way of looking at a song. And in the world of singer-songwriters, where you have guitar players and capos, they're playing this song and it's in the key of A, and they're capoed playing out of G position, and you're just very happy playing this 1-4-5, and maybe there's an odd 6 minor, or maybe a flat 3 chord, all these different variations, and all of a sudden the singer goes, my voice is not feeling real good. Let's take it down to A flat. And if you've got a chord chart written in A, then you've got to transpose in your head the entire song down a half step. Not that that's not a good thing to be able to do, but it's a whole lot easier if you're thinking of it as being in the key of 1. And this has evolved over the years. We use repeats, first endings, second endings, DSL coda signs. All these kind of standard notation have been incorporated into the number system. And I should say that there's a fellow named Chaz Williams who's written a book called the Nashville Number System. I'm sure you can find it online. It's a great, very detailed explanation of a lot of these things. I realize I'm throwing a fair amount of information at you at once here. But if you're working in any kind of a guitar-based situation, it's songwriter situations, the number chart is just really invaluable, and you can get an awful lot of information on one page. I did a gig with Steve Winwood one time, and I was the band leader, and I spent quite a bit of time figuring out how to get Higher Love, which has about 10 sections, all on one page, but I was able to do it. And the great thing about it is you can't take for granted that a song's always going to be in the same key. You might be doing, say you work with a songwriter and it's a female songwriter, you cut the song in E flat, because a lot of girl singers like to sing in E flat, and next thing you know, you're recording that same song with a male artist, and he may want to do it in G or A or somewhere else. So with a number chart, it's a transposition on the spot, rather than having to have that intermediate step where you're, oh yeah, well it's written as an A, but it's really, now we're in F, so oh yeah, it's an F, and what's the flat 6 of A in F, and those kind of things. And I've also found one of the exercises I did early on was to take the jazz fake book and take some of those tunes and write numbers, and what you find is that you can look at a piece of music and you really get the sense of the overall harmonic structure of the song, rather than this chord going to that chord. And I've just found it's a much better way to have an overall sense of the harmony of a piece. And just to give you a little more of an overview again, let's say you're in the key of E, and you're playing a funky kind of thing. And maybe it's got no thirds, so you're just writing it as a 1. Flat 3 to 4, back 1. Let's say flat 6, 5. So you get that idea of how those kind of things work. We're going to include an MP3 of a song on a record I produced on a fellow named Paco Ship, and we'll have an MP3 and a chart that you can look at to kind of line it up and see how those things work. It's really evolved into a great system here in Nashville, but I think it applies to all kinds of music. It's certainly not limited to country music. In fact, in the singer-songwriter world with open tunings, these kind of things, it's really, it's a great tool. So hopefully this information's been helpful to you. And you can find out more about the stuff I'm doing at davepomeroy.com. I've got a little record label called Earwave Music, and earwavemusic.com will get you straight to the records page. I work in all kinds of music. Grew up playing rock and roll and jazz, and moved here and embraced country music and bluegrass and a lot of folk, singer-songwriter stuff. But what makes Nashville a unique situation is a song town. It's all about the song. A lot of the work that we do, demo sessions with songwriters, the records that we make, it's definitely all about the song. And the number chart is a great way to quickly chart out a piece of music. I find a lot of times that when I chart out a song, I've just about learned it before I even play a single note. I appreciate the opportunity to do a little something for my friends here at Bass Frontiers. Going to leave you with a little piece of music here. This is a little instrumental from my most recent record. It's called Breezy Point.